piece together. The future of our country depends on it. I've got my panel still with Joy and Jake here. Joy, starting with you, that sounds a lot like the message we heard from Kamala Harris in her.
Absolutely. I mean, this is why I'm proud to be a Democrat. And the only thing I would say, and I loved the segment that you just had with the
ambassador and congresswoman.
The ambassador and congresswoman. One of the things I've heard, though, twice now, and I have to say it for your people of color who are watching, when you say identity politics, what about Kamala Harris's campaign had anything to do with identity politics? The only thing I can see is that she was a woman of color who was somewhat like you and I. Nothing else about it was about identity politics. All she was doing was bringing together a diverse segment of Americans like Donald Trump sought to do. I think when white people say that, what you're saying is we're not white and we're not male. That's the only time I ever hear identity politics used, because when it's a white man running, no one ever says, well, this is about identity politics. And that is something that if you're a person of color out there and you're processing this election, that kind of statement is frustrating to us. And it means that we don't see ourselves in this new supposed coalition that Donald Trump is trying to do together. So we need to work on working class folks, but I would encourage them to work on, be careful how you try to silo us and to suggest that because we are not white and because we are not male, that somehow we're engaging in identity politics. We're simply in our own skin and being ourselves.
I think you completely got what I was saying backwards. What I'm suggesting is identity politics, which you just heard the female Democratic former Congresswoman mention, that the Democratic Party is making a mistake. That the Democratic Party is making a mistake by engaging in identity politics, and it's well accepted that the Obama coalition, for example, that's often talked about in political science, is talked about a diverse group of constituencies that they put together to put together a winning majority. What I'm suggesting is the exact opposite of what you said. I'm suggesting that we ought to have a message of a rising tide for all Americans, that we can be unified. I think that the Democratic message has been very divisive, and they have missed the forest for the trees. I think that that's why they didn't have a message that attracted working class voters, because it doesn't matter what race you are. People are dealing with the same inflation at the grocery store. They're dealing with the same gas prices.
And yet inflation is improving.
And they're dealing, it doesn't change the fact that everybody is dealing with these problems. And I think the Democrat Party has been very divisive, the absolute opposite of what you're saying.
The Democratic Party has not been divisive. You all have been divisive. Donald Trump has been divisive.
We've got to keep this conversation really tamed here, because we just have a few seconds left. So last thoughts, 10 seconds each, if I can ask. Joy, what do you think is next for Kamala Harris?
Oh my goodness, I think she's going to finish strong as vice president.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think we're going to have to figure out how we rebuild our party
and coalition.
Rebuild our coalition. I hope that you all will stop using the word identity politics. It feels racist.
And Congressman?
It's not racist, and you can't control language. It's part of the problem of the Democratic Party. If you want to see why the Democrats got it wrong, in D.C., Kamala Harris won by 93% of the vote. There's a huge disconnect between D.C. and normal Americans across the country.
Thank you both so much. Great to have you on. All right. Thank you for watching BBC News.